quantum racing is back at the top of the world. Rolex TP52 World Champion.
They win the World Championship title for the third time on the final run.
Let's see how you do under pressure. Let's see how you do under pressure. Give them a name to remember. Hey, let's see how you do under pressure. Let's see how you do under pressure. A moment can live on forever. Hey, let's see how you do under pressure. Let's see how you do under pressure. A moment can live on forever.
Well, a beautiful morning here in Newport, Rhode Island. Day one of the Rolex TP52 World Championship. Great anticipation round the dock. It's going to be a great World Championship. We're joined by a past World Champion. Luis Vancer is our new colour and commentator on the water and will be helping us out over the course of the season. Luis is a World Championship. Tell us about your World Championship credentials then.
Thank you, Andy. And yes, I'm a 470 World Champion from 2022 with Philipp Autenried, and we won the World Championship in Israel. And so I know how it feels to win a World Championship, to be at a World Championship. You have to lose many World Championships to be then able to win a World Championship. So I exactly know how the guys feel on the boat, and I'm cheering for them and I'm feeling with them.
You've also just completed an Olympic programme, just missing out on qualification in the end, but tell us a little bit about that process.
So I went to the Olympic Games in Tokyo in 2021. It was female program for 70 girls sailing. That was great. It was such an incredible experience. We just missed out to win silver. And then I wanted to go for another Olympic campaign with Philipp Autenried. And yeah, by starting off strong with being a world champion, and then we had a more tough 2 years, but we had a very, very strong German squad. We were always in the top 10 of the world. And now the best team is going, and we were all there. And the message and the goal of the whole squad was to win a medal for Germany. And I hope that the team who's going to the Olympics now in Paris, Simon Diesch and Anna Marquardt, will achieve their goal.
Still going to be a little bit of a tough time for you, perhaps, watching from the sidelines at home?
I'm not so sure, to be honest, because I'm here with you, Andy, and that's so much fun for me. And I'm involved in the Women AC team. So Germany has a women team for the America's Cup, and that keeps me very busy, to be honest.
And you've also been round the circuit now for a full year or thereabouts with a little bit of work with Platoon.
Exactly. So last year I've joined the full circuit by the side of Platoon Aviation, and I know a lot of the guys. I'm quite close to quantum racing as well. So it would be so much fun to see them out racing.
Who's your money on for this week then?
Oh, it's a tough decision, to be honest. So
Remember, you have to be impartial.
Exactly. So there's quantum racing. I think they won 7 world championship titles in the TP52 class. Then there's Platoon Aviation, who also won a couple of world championships and last year, so they're a defender. So I think my money is on one of these two teams.
Really? She's supposed to be impartial. Anyway, that's Louise, who's going to be joining us this season on the water, providing all the detailed insights. And so from one world champion to Greg Gandel, the only sailor in the fleet who's won 7 world titles, and bidding for the 8th. Greg's the bowman on quantum racing, powered by American Magic. And Greg, 7 world titles. Start off, but first of all, tell us, what were you doing up the mast?
Yeah, I was just doing my normal morning routine. We greased the deflectors and then wiped the rig down with a chamois, just to get the leftover stuff from yesterday off.
And anyway, 7 world titles. How do you feel about this one, first of all? Is there a chance of an 8th for Greg Gandel?
I'd say there is a chance. You know, there's obviously a lot of good boats that we're sailing against, but right now we're leading the season. We're sailing well, we're starting well, and we have everything we need to win.
I'm not going to ask you to list all 7 so far, but what were the highlights so far for your world titles?
Yeah, 752 Worlds, something I'm proud of. The first one in Lanzarote was obviously a big one with Terry, and then each one was special. The one in 2022 with Doug was really good. The one in 2018 when Dean was steering, we had some of the American Magic guys. That we had a really strong season that year. That was a good one. So each one's a little bit special.
What is it that it takes to win a world title in this class?
Well, start with the sailing side of it. It takes, quantum racing, our formula for success over the years. It's everyone, it's nothing. It's not a secret at this point, but it's good, consistent starting. Good start is a start that lets you execute your plan, and then letting the boat do its thing. By that I mean, we have a lot of good trimmer drivers, and our speed team is really good. So we just let the boat do its thing. It's usually pretty fast, and then good solid boat handling around the course.
And how have you developed over these 7 or 8 years then?
How have I developed myself? Well, I'm just consistent, I think. I think if you ask the guys in the fleet, I'm just consistent. I take the preparation very seriously, and as far as my physical preparation and the preparation of my area on the boat, everything's the same all the time.
And you're still physically as fit and strong as 7 or 8 years ago?
I think so. I'm putting on a couple years, a little joint pain here and there, but I'm feeling good.
And just give us an insight behind the curtain, as it were. What's the job all about in terms of the physicality?
The physicality, there's a lot of stability, a lot of core, I do a lot of stretching. There's some explosive efforts. It's actually a lot, especially like a day like today where it's going to be windy and wavy, a lot of leg strength where you're doing your job crouched down. So I do a lot of that stuff for preparation.
What's the key to being a good bowman?
Being a good bowman, like I said earlier, it's preparation is a lot of it, and I like everything. It's a little bit boring, but I like everything the same all the time. And you have to learn from, you have to make mistakes to learn from them. So I've certainly made mistakes, and then the idea is just not to make those mistakes again.
Obviously now one of the older sailors in the team, you've got a young afterguard. What's your influence there?
Yeah, the experience goes a long way in this fleet. So. And in sailing, so I think I just try to use my experience and talk to the guys in my area just about what they can expect or what they can do a little bit better here and there. And I try not to say too much, but what I say, I try to have some meaning behind it.
And obviously it's been fairly obvious so far that the last day has been the problem for quantum racing powered by American Magic. What can you do there to positively influence the afterguard?
We just have to keep doing everything the same. We should try to do it the same, whether we have a one-length lead or 1 length behind, and just consistency. Try not to let emotions get in the way. If we were in a chance to win this Worlds going into the last day, emotions might be high, but we just have to try to stay calm and just do it consistently.
And we've asked you before, obviously, home turf, home possibilities of a World Championship on home turf.
It'd be awesome. Yeah, Newport's a great place to sail. We got good breeze the next few days, and we still have a lot of work to do, but a Worlds would be great.
What do you like most about Newport?
It's sort of a home. I have as a sailor, a lot of home away from home, but I've spent a lot of time here in Newport. It's a beautiful place and a fun place to be in the summer, and the sea breeze is usually pretty reliable and good.
Do you get time to enjoy it?
I do. I have my bike here, so I do the Ocean Drive loop, and I'm familiar with downtown, so I know the restaurants and stuff, but I do. Yeah, a little bit.
Good stuff. Have a good day. Have a good championship.
Okay. Thank you, Andy.
Well, great insights there from Greg Gandel, the long-time bowman, super consistent, up on the sharp end of quantum racing powered by American Magic, looking at his 8th world title potentially. Harm Muller-Speer, the owner-driver of Platoon Aviation, has won 3 titles. He's defending. And Louise, in at the deep end, caught up with Harm this morning.
Good morning, Harm. It's the first day of the Rolex TP52 World Championship. You're the defending world champion. How do you feel on your first day?
To be honest, it's like a normal racing day because, if you're winding yourself up and being nervous, that definitely doesn't help. No, it's a good place. We sailed here for 3-4 weeks ago, and with our new boat, which hasn't been really good in the first 2 events, and we made some adjustments and some changes in the boat, and we saw on the last 2 training days, especially in yesterday in the practice races, that our idea to improve the boat works out, and we're looking forward to the week.
That sounds excellent. I've seen you going pretty fast yesterday on the practice day and the practice races. Do you follow any specific points today to make you win?
No, they're not a specific point. It's like in the normal regatta, you have to fight for every single point, and if you are top 3 or top 5 or top 4 at every single weather mark, you have a slight good chance to win the World Championship.
I hear about it that you want to be very consistent, and consistency will make you perfect. You have a very experienced crew already. How many World Championship titles did you already win in the TP52 class?
Oh, that's it's more than I expected personally. We won 3 World Championships in this class, and for me as an amateur driver, it's quite a big achievement. And I'm a little bit proud to beat all these professionals. Most of the boats are professional driven, and the teams are all so good. I mean, in every single boat you have so many Olympic medals, America's Cup titles, Volvo Ocean races, World Championships, and so many different classes. So if you're winning in this class, this is not easy, I would say.
I fully agree with you. I hear from so many teams that you're driving and sailing like a pro. You can be very proud of this. Do you have anything special for breakfast on a day like this, for a World Championship?
Not really. I mean, this morning I've been a little bit late and I got toast and coffee. That's it.
So you keep it cool. I like that. I wish you all the best. In German we say viel Glück, and see you after the racing.
Thank you very much.
So that's Harm. Let's go on the water. We're looking at a good breeze today. We should get 2 good races. Let's go. And indeed, let's go. Conditions looking pretty reasonable out on the water. The breakfast of champions then with Harm Müller-Speer, toast and coffee. But this is going to be a fascinating World Championship for sure. So said in the intro, we've got 3 past World Champions, but we're also looking at very much the value factor, if we want to call it that. Value winning the regatta here last... 3 or 4 weeks ago, came out with a dream win, coming from a 10th place in the first regatta of the season to win for the very first time with this family team from Thailand. So I think that's given a great deal of confidence through the fleet. Really, we say any team could win here, and it's going to be a great week. So there we have the value team. Buoyed by their success for sure. They really enjoyed that victory 3 weeks ago, but they're very much back to reality. They have no particular expectations or hopes and expectations that they can really pick up where they left off. Anyway, Louise is in the water or on the water. Louise, how are conditions looking? We're looking at a very small delay, I believe.
Hey Andy, yes, we have glamorous sailing conditions out here. We have 12 to 14 knots from the south with sun and big waves. So I guess on upwind the teams will be fully hiking, try to put all their weight out, and on downwind we will see the boats almost flying. The bow will be up and they will be planing downwind, surfing the waves down. Some teams ask for a delay, so they want to probably change some things on their boats. But I guess we will start off soon.
So obviously some small technical issues on an unspecified boat as yet, but our race officer Maria Torrijo and the team on board always try to facilitate, make sure that everybody's in the best possible shape, particularly at the start of a World Championship. So we've got that little bit of delay, certainly not due to the lack of wind. As Louise said, 12 to 14 knots of breeze. And Louise, the current on this race course is significant, and certainly we saw that yesterday, and we spoke to some of the afterguards. What's your interpretation of the current?
So as Newport is at the Atlantic, we have tide here. That's very different to the Mediterranean sailing we're used to usually. So the tide is driven by the moon, and at the moment we have ingoing water from the south. I spoke to Jules this morning, the navigator from Platoon, and he's expecting not so much current on the race course. He's also coming from England, so not so much current for him. Is probably still a lot of current for me, coming from a small lake. So I guess there will be some current coming almost from wind direction, so the teams need to be careful at the start, to be still close to the line and at the marks.
So talk to us about what it takes to win a World Championship. The C word this morning was consistency. Everybody's talking about being consistent. How do they achieve that? How do you achieve that as the experience as a World Champion?
Andy, you know what? I asked this question as well to some teams this morning, and I think for all of them it was about preparation and to be it's a now or never for them. It's not about the season this time, it's also about to win this one event, the TP52 Rolex World Championship. And when I asked the guys from Platoon this morning how many sails they bring on the whip, they said that they bring all of them. They just want to be as prepared as possible. It's about the detail that will make the difference in this high sailing class. And Harm sounded pretty cool this morning in his interview, so he feels confident, they feel fast. And for me, on the first day, to be honest, you can't win a world championship, but you can lose it. So what do you think, Andy? You have so much experience in this class. What do you think will the teams do on the first day?
I think that usually what we see is everybody going for the relatively low risk options, certainly in terms of starting. Teams which know they've got speed, so you refer to boats like Quantum Racing powered by American Magic, potentially Platoon as well. Perhaps Sled we saw doing well in the practice race. They were quite happy to push off the committee boat end of the line and go out to the right, and that really worked out for them. But Gladiator, I think will be contenders here. We saw them getting a first and second yesterday in the practice races, which were all single laps, and they've got a great deal of experience on board the Gladiator. Guiche Parada has has 3 world titles, 2 with Azura and 1 going back to 2009 with Matador. And I think they're certainly hungry. They have all the tools in their toolbox, and it's a case of just eliminating the big mistakes. And really, as you say, you can lose the world title on the first day if you make the big mistakes. And Harm, I think, exemplifying what it takes, which is really trying to be third, fourth, fifths at the top windward mark and always be going forward in the fleet. But conditions looking pretty good. And another aspect which we alluded to in our pre-race press releases and so on, is that the 2 regattas we've had so far this season, we've lost racing days to light winds, both in Palma and also here. Say 3 or 4 weeks ago, we lost a couple of days of races to light winds. So it's a very different aspect when we know that we're going to go into a week when we should get racing every day. You can look forward to and kind of plan ahead, as it were, psychologically, because the days when you lose races and then have 3 race days, particularly in Palma, I think that was very, very intense for the teams to have most of the regatta raced just over 2 days. So hopefully things should be better here. But Louise, what do you feel you saw on the race course yesterday in terms of the breeze? It's a very open race course, isn't it? It's not like some of the venues we go to in the Mediterranean which can be a little bit one-sided. There's lots going on this race course, isn't there?
I fully agree with you, Andy. So it's a very open race course, especially with this winter rage, and there's no shore very close. So for me, as a sailor, if I would be on this boat, I would make sure I start well, I go fast, and then it's easy. You just make sure the other boats don't pass you anymore. But yesterday, a lot of the boats were very keen to go to the right side. We had similar conditions, so let's see if the boats want to fight again for the right.
That was interesting. I mean, one of the things yesterday, of course, we did 2 practice starts to start with, and then we did 2 practice races, and so I don't think the start line was changed very much, and so we saw the fleet gravitate towards the committee boat end of the line after Sled won the first race. But not everybody can start in the key position on the start lines, and again, it's about minimising the risk, trying to start with space and speed on the start line, and trying to be in the front rank of the start line. But
so we have seen Platoon and Sled going pretty fast yesterday. I would think they go the same fast today. We have similar conditions, but then we of course have Quantum Racing, the 7 times world champion. They have a very young afterguard. We have Harry Melges helming. He was 22 years old. Then we have Victor Diaz de Leon, the tactician. He's just 33 years old. And I think it will be a very exciting event for them. They have a lot of experience in this young age, but it's still their first World Championship, and let's see how the teams will go.
I mean, the key thing for, as I've said several times, with the Quantum Racing powered by American Magic team, they've proven that they can win races and get into a winning position going into the last day, but they've had problems on successive regattas on the last day, so they just have to keep cool, stick to their processes, and trust in themselves and their boat speed, and hope they can do better as we get to the closing stages of the regatta. But it would be great to see them winning the Worlds at their home club, the New York Yacht Club. So breeze is at 245 degrees.
There's a lot of...
Go on, Louise.
There's a lot of pressure on all these teams here. I know it for myself. You just feel this pressure, you feel this excitement. I wouldn't be surprised if one of the guys maybe didn't sleep so well, but I guess that's very normal, and in these moments you just need to always think that the others will feel the same as you do.
Indeed. And these guys have got so much experience, coming, certainly the top pro sailors coming from regatta to regatta over the course of the season. It's important. I mean, it's important to get sleep, as you say, and arrive on the first day rested with maximum focus, nothing on your mind other than you're doing your job as best you possibly can and making no mistakes. But, I said any team can win. Allegra have been close. They were quick and certainly out of the box in Palma. They stacked up a number of first places and were going quick. They could finish certainly on the podium here. They could even win the world title. They've got loads of experience, world champions and Olympic champions on board, and one other team which have got all you need in the locker to win the world title. So quick on board there with the Vayu, looking pretty relaxed. They have Nick Rogers, the double 470 Olympic silver medalist there, with his back to us, talking with the helmsman Don Whitcraft. So Nick unfortunately missed out on being here for the race win, as did Miles Seddon, who's a navigator. So they're back on board. And they're just looking pretty settled. Just talking about strategy there, Nick, talking to the helmsman, young Don Whitcraft. But what are the teams looking at just now, as we have a few minutes before we go into sequence? What are they looking at? The afterguards. What's the key things for them at this stage, Louise?
Andy, for me, the afterguard just needs to make sure they're delivering on the simple things on the first day of a World Championship. As we've already said, you can't win a World Championship the first day, but you can lose it. So as soon you keep the simple things and you deliver on them, they're all fast and they're all good. So I think that team will be out of the day with a first place. And for me as an afterguard, they're all so experienced. They all have done it already a couple of times. They all won World Championships, so I think they know what they're doing, but I still would be pretty nervous, to be honest.
Indeed, it's really about sticking to your processes, isn't it? It's about pinging the line, deciding where you want to start in the line, monitoring what you believe to be the breeze pattern on that first beat, and preparing a plan off the start line. Where do you want to be on the start line? And then executing as and when you see how the rest of the fleet are lining up. Generally, you don't want to start with a very strong boat to leeward off you. You want to have a little bit of runway, a little bit of space to build speed, and hit the line as the gun goes with maximum speed. Interesting to note, I don't know whether it will change, but we just saw momentarily we were on board with Phoenix, and it appeared that Ed Baird is steering, which will be interesting. I'm not sure. Oh no, Hasso Plattner
Andy,
is
I
scheduled.
can't see Phoenix at the moment.
No, it's fine. We're on board, Louise. We can see
You
Hasso.
must see it better than me.
Yeah, Hasso Plattner steering and setting up. As we saw at the XS Trophy Regatta 3 weeks ago, Hasso and Tina, father and daughter, alternating race by race, the steering, and Hasso starting the day on the helm of Phoenix. He's a hugely experienced offshore and inshore Grand Prix racer and an accomplished dinghy racer, high performance 505s his whole life. As we go into the start sequence, we've got Quantum Racing powered by American Magic down looking at the left end of the line, perhaps, Louise?
Yes, there's Quantum Racing. I think they might want to check the starting line again. There was just a small hack from Victor Diaz de Leon to Harry. They really want to make sure that they come out of this day with no major mistakes. They have so much experience in the speed team and in the crew of that boat. So as an afterguard, even if they're young, I'm sure they can still feel confident.
I think they can. I think they have confidence in each other. I think really these last days have been very emotional and tough for them, but you know, I think that's probably bonded the team tighter than ever. And having been through that, they kind of know what they have to do better towards the end of regattas. And have also dealt, I think, to a certain extent with the pressure of racing at home. They're kind of over that, I think, in the sense that they've had a week at it, feel much more at home. We're setting in with just over 3 minutes to go. A few words about the French team there, the blue boat, Paprec. I think they're certainly buoyed. I spoke with Stefan Neve, who's the project manager and the main sheet trimmer on that boat. He was talking very much about the value factor, just saying, well, you know, maybe we can't win a regatta, but we're certainly inspired by what they did. And we could, you know, if we could emulate them in any way, we could end up perhaps in the podium. But certainly everybody's really motivated by the value success to really give their best. As we go into 240, 250 before the start. Sled, we're looking at them well to windward of the group, out to the right. That's where they started yesterday. Breeze is slightly further to the right, Louise. It was 240 today, 230 yesterday.
Yes, breeze is slightly further to the right, but the forecast looks quite stable, so we don't expect major changes. And now we can already see the boats following each other in a line, and this is how they will set up for the start already. So in big boat racing, it's a little bit different than dinghy racing, what I've used to say, where you go to the start line and then you stand in the wind and you sheet in and you go. These big boats, they follow each other and then set up for their position on the line.
It's very much more about time on distance, hitting the line really with a centimetre or millimetre precision. Interesting to watch value furthest to the left of the group, as it were. I think Gladiator up to windward. That was the value's modus operandi in the previous regatta. They started on the pin almost every race. So just setting up, tacking onto starboard with just over a minute to go. A little bit behind.
I think we see a classic pre-start race setup here. Gladiator at the boat, Value at the pin, and Quantum in the middle of the fleece. A lot of space to leeward, as we've just talked about before. This is actually the best position you can have at the start. So you can say your own mode after the gun.
That's right, we're seeing Value to the left of the fleet, then Phoenix. On board with Phoenix as they set up for their final speed build at half a minute to go. They have Value below them. Hasso Plattner just keeping the bow up and not dropping into Value. But in the end, the fleet is starting more or less on the right half of the line, if you like. One boat pretty high up to windward. Maybe squeezed out, but it's final seconds, final speed build into the start. Value looking to start well off the left end of the line. Let's not call it the pin end, because they've still got a good bit of distance up to the pin. Gladiator would see good start from Pat Preck, 3 boats up from the leeward end of the line. Gladiator tacking off early, as we saw them doing previously. I think Sled not getting the best of starts. Louise, what are you seeing?
It was a clear start, but I'm quite surprised. I think Alpha Plus is the boat that just is crossing the starting line now, or maybe it's Interlodge. You might know it better than me. But I really like the start of Value. He's had all the way to go now to do their own speed. And also Quantum Racing looks very strong from my position on. They got a lot of space to windward. They're on top of the French. They can go fast and do their own race.
So two platoon starting 2 boats from the right-hand group, if you like. They have a leg group just above them. Then Platoon actually starting really well. The only thing is they have Quantum to leeward. And then Paprec going well, bow forwards on the boats to weather, going well relative to Quantum. Quantum probably not as comfortable on the French boat as they would want to be. And we can see that Platoon are actually bow forward on Quantum for the moment. But a good start, clean start, nobody over the line, and that really, for a World Championship, is a success from the get-go. So much is determined off the start line, but Sled and Gladiator, top 2 boats yesterday, going out to the right side. I think Gladiators timed their start slightly better. From what I could see, Sled were a little bit late on the line, but they're first and second on our tracker just now. But it's not, as I've said many times before, to win a World Championship you don't have to win many races. It's all about consistency. You want to be top 3, top 4 in the windward mark, and give yourself something to build on. But great conditions we're seeing. A little bit of chop, as we saw at the regatta 3 or 4 weeks ago. But 12 to 14 knots of breeze. So great conditions, Louise.
Amazing conditions. I think that's really the kind of conditions you want to have for a World Championship. I'm so happy for the sailors that they can race in these conditions. And we see a split now here in the fleet. So we have some boats who are pretty keen to go to the left and some others tacked out early. Gladiator, the most right boat. If the wind stays the same as yesterday, and if we have the same conditions, then the right side can be pretty strong. So Tony Langley on his Gladiator boat, he's doing the tactics and he's also the owner of the boat. I think that's the only team where the owner is also the tactician on the boat. Is that right, Andy?
That's right. I mean, I think it's an interesting dynamic because I think there's a few different sailors at the back of the boat have input. Tony has the executive decision. He decides what he's happiest with, but Guichet Parada certainly has input as helmsman, but also Chris Hosking and the escort. And Bruno's really the navigator for sure. They all discuss what they're seeing and run what they see as the options, and say Tony has the ultimate say. But it's a little bit of tactics by committee, as it were. But it certainly seems to work for them. They're leading on the tracker just now, along with Sled. Top 2 boats in the practice race, or practice races yesterday. repeating what they did yesterday. It seems to be working so far. But in general, we've seen the left side, the top third of the beat coming into play. That's what worked for the Thai boat, for Vayu here in June. So we'll see how this works out.
Andy, me as a sailor, I would always also look where the fleet is going. So we have a split here. 7 boats are going to the right, 3 boats continue to the left. Alpha Plus is the most windward boat of the boats going to the left. So France and Thailand, they all wait for Alpha Plus to tack so they can follow the other boats to the right, or they're just happy to go left. That's the 2 options they're having. But if I would go to the right, I would just make sure I'm fast and I can go with the others, and I would be pretty happy there.
Yeah, I think Gladiator are pretty happy where they are. They seem to have a little bit of a lead out on that right side. They're furthest out to the right. And I think they had the preferred start. Interlodge quite far back. Didn't get the start they wanted, but we'll see. Usually, or what we've seen before, there, I think, usually what we've seen has been a little bit of a lift on port once they tack. So as we speak, Paprec just tacking, and that will allow Vayu to go if they choose to. But certainly Vayu, in terms of distance, the windward mark are quite far behind the boats out on that right side. Vayu position 9th.
There we go. Now we have.
Go on, Louise.
Now we have all the boats going to the right. Alpha Plus just tacked on Paprec on the French team. That was a bit painful for the French team because now they have to come back, do another maneuver, what is really painful in these wavy conditions. So let's see how they will position themselves to Vayu. If they cross behind and go even further left, or if they lee bow the boat and undertack it. But it seems like that they're going behind and even continue more to the left. Andy, would you be nervous about this if you would be the French boat?
I don't think so. I think it's trying to, as you said earlier on, minimise the number of manoeuvres you do all the time. You're attacking these boats, you're losing half a boat length no matter what. And so really at this stage you don't want to get into a private battle. But for sure Vayu trying to maintain their position on the left. But the tracker shows Gladiator platoon going well. Quantum in 5th at the moment. They're really next to nothing in it. On board with the Vayu just now. Just bringing on a little bit more rudder. Tom Green, the main sheet trimmer, working with Don Whitcraft. But you see they've just taken a boat length out of Paprec. They're going pretty well, I think. We should see them start to profit on that left side. And just now Vayu, Louise have got a nice lane.
Vayu is in a very comfortable lane. They can say their own mode, they can go fast. The sun is helming the boat. It's a family team. I really like this about Vayu. There must be a great spirit on that boat. So now it's all about going fast and then manage the traffic because we're getting close to the upwind mark, excuse me. We're in the middle of the course, maybe getting to the first third, now to the last third, to the upwind mark, where it's about managing traffic, getting your lane to the upwind mark to don't sail in bad wind, and then they both already positioned themselves to round the upwind mark. We've seen Gladiator tacking now. They are pretty much on ley line, I would say. Maybe they need to do another tag with the current, we will see later, and it looks like a beautiful cross for them, Andy.
Yeah, I think so. On board momentarily with Platoon. Platoon, I think, third or fourth. Tussling with Quantum Racing, powered by American Magic. But really, no big surprises then on this first upwind of the Rolex TP52 World Championship so far. Gladiator, I think, going to fight to hold that windward position. Quantum have got themselves into nice position to the with the right-hand group. Not sure that this left side is working for Value as they would have wanted, or as it did for them at the previous regatta, but they are making small gains. Generally, we've seen a little bit of a lefty, a little bit of a lift on port tack for them in previous regattas, or the previous regatta. But just watching them, watch them on the tracker, just taking places slowly. But their danger, Louise, is coming in.
We see an exciting cross coming up here. We've seen an exciting cross coming up here on the trackers. We see the 3 boats on port and all the other boats on starboard, so they really want to make sure that they can cross most of the boats here. Otherwise they have to go behind or do another tag, another maneuver that pays off painful.
Indeed, but Value gaining on this left side, as have Alpha Plus. Just watching that cross with Alpha Plus and Sled. Remember we were saying earlier on in this upwind, Sled were in the top 2, top 3. And the tracker showing that Value are making this consistent gain. Once again, this left side working for them. I think there's a little bit of a bend in the breeze, but it may also be some positive current. My understanding from Andrea Vicentini.
So we see on board here on Value the full crew hiking, so it's perfect conditions for the crew here. They're full hiking, the boat is at maximum power. They try to get all their weight out to go now as fast as they can on this port tack. Andy, now Platoon came out to the left and undertacked another boat.
Yeah, Platoon just tacking inside Sled. They're 6th and 7th, but these boats on that left side, Prix, Value and Alpha Plus, profiting all the time from that left side. We may yet see Value leading round the windward mark. So for all they said that they didn't expect to come here and just take over from where they left off in June. It's potentially happening just now. On board with the Platoon. Platoon just now in 5th. I think in this fleet at this time, if you get round the top mark of the top half of the fleet, you can be reasonably happy you've got a platform to work on.
Ham said this morning that he will be happy with crossing the weather mark in a 3rd or in a 5th position, and I think this is it. You want to be consistent in this event. It's a long week of racing with many races a day, and now we're approaching the weather mark and we will see some more tight situations coming up here.
So looking like Value may be first at the windward mark. A little bit of deja vu for those of us who watched the previous regatta, and certainly a nice encouraging moment for the 2 key members of the after guard who weren't here I spoke with Palm Green just before the regatta started, saying they're so interchangeable in this team. These two in particular have been a member of the programme since the very, very beginning, and indeed raced with the Value when they were still racing in Asia. And so sticking to the same strategy, starting off the pin end of the line, they're going to be coming around the top mark in the next few minutes with a little bit of a lead. Not so sure I'd be happy where Paprec are, Louise, just a little bit further back. They're going to come into the traffic on port, but Value looking like they'll get round first.
Value is just about to round the upwind mark. They looked really good. They made big gains, but I would be pretty nervous being Paprec now. They're under attack, very close platoon aviation, but I didn't hear anything about the protest, so it was clear. So the 3 top boats from the left are surrounding the weather mark in the top 3.
Yes, indeed. So Value round first, Alpha Plus round second. Third, I think, round will be Platoon or Paprec, in fact, just getting around ahead of Platoon. Gladiator, who are way out to that right side, ending up quite deep. Sled coming around in 6th. 7th is going to be a Gladiator. So at the the offset mark, the kite is set on board already on Value, and Alpha Plus just behind them. Gladiator round in 7th. 8th in the end is Quantum Racing, powered by American Magic. So straight bear away set at the offset mark, a straight line up down this first run. A little bit of a jump for the top 2 boats. So fairly straightforward first run. So the order we have: Value, Alpha Plus, Paprec, just ahead of Platoon. Sled in 5th. 6th, I think, was Gladiator. 7th, Interlodge. 8th, Allegra. 9th, the Phoenix. And 10th, Quantum Racing, powered by American Magic. But a nice conditions for this run are 2 Asian boats. Alpha Plus out in front, Value out in front, Alpha Plus in second, and Paprec in third. Their defending world champions are fourth, coming down this first run. Interesting, good position for the Alpha Plus team, who've made 1 or 2 little changes to their lineup. They're just saying that they have followed the trend, if you like, what Value have done. Value make a big point of training up or bringing in young sailors from Thailand and from Asia, want them to be part of the program, and Alpha Plus have made a few little changes on board. Just having some younger sailors in now. Australian Steve Thomas is in as the mainsail trimmer. And the downwind trimmer is now Zach Hurst, very experienced sailor, but just changing the dynamic on that boat slightly. Trying to open the program up to bring in some younger sailors, some young blood, looking more to the future and to be a little bit less reliant on top older pro sailors, perhaps. But I spoke with the owner or co-owner of the programme, Sean Kang, last night, just saying how much fun he's having on this circuit. Their second year in the circuit, just loving it, and a day like this, starting off in second place on this first round, that really makes it all worth it. So Value then going into their jibe, matched by Alpha Plus behind. These teams were rivals going way back to days racing in Asia. And here they are at the top of the world's leading Grand Prix monohull circuit. Platoon in fourth, Louise, has got a little bit of a gap back to Sled.
Platoon make big gains for me here on that downwind. They just seems to be a bit faster and they're getting closer and closer to the French boat. But how beautiful are these boats in these conditions, Andy? Seems like that they're dancing and playing with the waves. It's a lot on for the downwind trimmers. So on Platoon we have Javi trimming the kite and working very close together with Han Müller-Sperr to exactly finding the right angle to make that boat surfing on the waves. It's kind of like wave surfing. You want to come up with the wave, you get a parent wind, so you create your own wind that makes you then bang away and take the wave very nicely down. Now they roll into a jibe. And look how this asymmetric spinnaker, the Janica, is flying around. This is an outside jibe. They changed the technique of jibing a little bit depending on the wind strength. And what a beautiful jibe. Now they accelerate again and follow the two top leaders.
Indeed, they're just watching, I think, monitoring Allegra over to that left side. They were first, I think Allegra were the first to jibe. Just knitting together the strongest breeze, looking for the little puffs, little gusts coming downwind. Paprec looked to be having a good race with Alpha Plus. Alpha Plus jibed a little bit earlier following Value. Paprec have stayed to the right. Paprec, of course, of French, a legend of ocean racing. Loic Perron on board. And I think the great thing for Value is that they now have a level of confidence that having got to the front of the fleet, they know that they can stay there if they just sail their own race. They don't have to do anything particularly different from the fleet, just a case of covering, watching to see what the boats behind are doing.
Andy, now the boats here on the right side are aligned with the wave direction. So this is the fast jibe for them. Now it's the time for them to make the big gains. Focus on their boat, on their speed, work together. The helm and the downwind trimmer. It's a lot of communication going on in these moments on these boats about the angle, and also the grinders need to work a lot. You release the sheet, so the downwind trimmer is releasing the Janica sheet as soon they get pressure, and then to pull it back in, it's up to these two grinders to grind it really fast to don't make the sails flap. I've heard that on Alpha Plus there's very, very strong grinders, Andy.
That's right. We have Phil Claps, the main grinder on Alpha Plus. He's actually the world record holder for the indoor 500 metres on the Concept 2. He's actually just coming back into the programme. He had injured his ankle on a maxi race, I think. Got a rope round it and a very severe laceration to his ankle, so he's been rehabilitating that, and he's back on board. And they've got plenty of power on board, lying third just now, just chasing Value. Allegre looks, Louise, have made a gain down that left side, and they're fighting head to head with Value. Platoon fourth or fifth
Allegre
just now.
is ripping down there.
Maybe they just had a bit more wind, but they were rounding the weather mark somewhere in the middle, and now they're in the leading pack, it looks like, for the downwind gate. We're very close to the downwind gate, so now the teams have to decide what side and what mark they want to take. They want to be inside to don't lose more meters for the rounding. That's why Vayu probably jibed on top of Allegre. So let's see if Vayu want to go again to the left.
Indeed, we're on board with Platoon. There we're just looking at Jordi Calafat, Olympic 470 gold medalist and America's Cup winner, strategist. But looking at the leeward gate, it's going to be a bit close between Allegre and Vayu. Allegre looking like they'll take the right-hand mark. Vayu potentially on the left. Early drop from Allegre on the right hand, which suggests there's closer to the mark. Indeed, I would have Allegre then leading round the first leeward gate. Second round will be Vayu. Vayu lost out to Allegre on that run. Allegre jibed earliest and went to the left. Third round is going to be Alpha Plus. Platoon coming to the right hand mark, looking upwind with speed. Then it gets busy. So Platoon actually, for me, will be through Paprec. On board watching this drop, Andy Axelson, the grinder, along with navigator Jules Salter there on the grinders. Round ahead of Paprec. Next round is going to be Sled. Then Gladiator. And then the fleet is a little bit more spread out at the back. Quantum Racing, powered by American Magic, behind Gladiator. Then behind them Phoenix. So not the best start for the 7 times world champions. So very close, Louise, between Vayu and Allegre.
What a comeback!
Go on, Louise.
Yes, it's very close between Vayu and Allegre. I think there was just a lead change for me. Allegre was rounding the downwind mark a bit earlier than Vayu. But what a comeback by Interlodge, Andy. They started last and now they're back in the fleet.
They are, yeah. They're in 6th place. The local heroes to a point. Austin Fragaman is a board member at the New York Yacht Club. Very much the host of the previous regatta, but Afterguard is led by Cameron Appleton with Carlos Roble. A new navigator on Interlodge this week is Michele Avaldi. So they've got themselves up to 6th, but now this really interesting battle between Allegre and Vayu. Platoon going out a little bit further to the right. Overhead, what a great view of the Thai boat. Quantum sails. For those of you who are wondering, they're part of this 3-boat programme, where they share all the information, they share all the coaching advice, share all the performance data, millions and millions and millions of data points collected every day and analysed. And the 3 boats on the Quantum programme are of course Quantum Racing, powered by American Magic, Gladiator and Vayu. And slightly unusual to have Gladiator and Vayu out ahead of Quantum, but that's the way it is these days. Value and Allegra neck and neck.
Andy, Value just tacked back on port. Allegra on starboard. So now we see a cross coming up. Allegra doesn't want to push it too far, so they're under attack. Maybe they didn't look so strong on Value, so Value can be pretty happy here. Coming from the left, having Allegra leeward, and sail their own mode and go fast as they did on the first upwind. It looked good for them.
It does look good for them, but I mean, of course, all the time you're thinking, you know, we've seen World Championships won by a point. We've seen the 52 Super Series title last year won only on countback. So you don't want to give anything away, but equally you don't want to get into situations where you're fighting a private battle just to win this race. But Value, I think, fairly comfortable on Allegra. They have Allegra to leeward. In the meantime, wonder whether Platoon can find anything out there on that right side. They are in 4th place just now. We're seeing Alpha Plus there, the black boat with a red Prada flash at the back of the boat, which has been kept since the boat was launched originally as the Prada TP52 way back in the year, I think 2016, wasn't it? When we were in 2017, we were in Croatia, won the first regatta. And Sean and Tina Kang really liked the idea of keeping the red Prada flash. So it's pretty distinctive, and they're up there in the mix. But Louise, it's so much, I mean, it's easier to a certain extent when you're into the top 3. You're fighting with the 2 boats round about you. It's much easier than when you're mid-fleet in the traffic and being bounced around. So Value just need to race the boats round about it.
I mean, I agree with you, Andy. I mean, usually it's just easier when you're in the front, especially in these boats. They're all so good, and there are no big advantages of speed or anything. They're all fast, they're all good, they all won many world championships. So now it's just about protecting meters and basically do less mistakes than the others. And if you go the same way as the others do, you already minimize pretty much the mistakes you can do. So if you're leading position, it's kind of easier. You just follow the others, you're a bit faster, and always make sure they don't pass you anymore.
That's right, easier said than done, but for sure Alpha Plus then just benchmarking themselves against the world champions, who they're just crossing in front of at the moment. But Allegra we still have as leaders. I wonder whether Alpha Plus are through Value for the moment, but Value I think like to just try and keep themselves to the left of the fleet. That's what worked for them consistently. Anyway, if you've just joined us, we're on the second upwind of race 1 of the Rolex TP52 World Championship here in Newport, Rhode Island. We've got 10 boats racing, 7 different nations. 3 teams have won the world title, and at the moment it's Allegra, team from Hong Kong, Sean and Tina Kang are in the mix in third just now. Value in second. Allegra, Andy Soriano's team are judged to be leading. They're just kind of in the middle of the fleet.
And Sletty on the left side. I think they want to take a bit more risk. They really want to go to this left side now, separate from the fleet, to maybe increase their chances to make gains and come back to the middle and to the top of the fleet. The left side looked pretty good on the first upwind, not so good on the downwind, where Allegra made so big gains on the other downwind side. Andy, what do you think? Will they make any gains? Do they come back stronger?
I think there's a gain to be made there. I think they're certainly having to push. out and take a little bit more risk as they're only 8th and 9th respectively. But all credit to Allegra, to Nick Asher, to Will Ryan, Francesco Mongelli and Andy Soriano, the afterguard in Allegra, recognised the gain on that first run. But they're now, I think they've tacked back towards Value, haven't they? Or just tacking back towards Value. Yeah, and as we see them coming back.
Yes, exactly. Both of the boats have tacked back. They're also very close to Leyland already. I'm already at the weather mark and have a good view from here. They look pretty good, so I wouldn't be surprised if they make gains back. We will see. But the other boats on the right side of the course, they're already managing their traffic. They try to find the best line to go to that weather mark, to sail, to avoid sailing in bad winds. And yes, this is the crucial points for most of the boats there. This is the moment I would get a bit nervous and I would just try to make sure I get the best lane.
Yeah, for sure, Louise. Value back through Allegra. I don't think they were ever too worried. They were happy on that left side of them. Wanted to continue to be there. Value working back out to the left. But it's always about knowing you have a lane into the top mark, which is reasonably safe coming in on port. And that, I think, will be close between the Value and Allegra. But then there's a gap back to Alpha Plus. All the time this battle going on between Paprec and Platoon that's pretty much started when they came round. Remember, they came round the top mark with Platoon tight on the windward mark, Paprec a little bit wider. They've been pretty much locked together ever since. So I think a fourth were it to happen for the defending world champions would be a pretty solid start for them.
A fourth place for Platoon Aviation would sound great for the first race of the Rolex TP52 World Championship. I would take that. We always called this a keeper. This is a race you can keep. It makes you happy. No big mistakes. So I hope Platoon Aviation can keep this place and maybe move forward, but you definitely don't want to risk too much anymore at that point for the last downwind.
Anyway, the key thing is that we've just seen Value crossing ahead of Allegra and Alpha Plus. I mean, they really are our top three. If you look at the tracker, there's 100 meters or so between Alpha Plus and Paprec, and in this fleet that's significant. Just with this one downwind to go. But as you say, certainly anything in the top half of the fleet in this regatta in the first race will be, as Louise said, you call it a keeper, but there's of course no discards in the 52 Super Series. Every race counts. For those of you who watch with us regularly, remember that the World Championship in Barcelona last year was won by Platoon on the last run of the last race. So
yes, what an exciting last race it was there in Barcelona. They basically, just in the last half of the last downwind, overtook one boat, and that made them win the World Championship. Andy, we have amazing conditions here. We had not so great conditions last year for the World Championship. Do you think we will expect the same tight racing this year?
I think we've seen it so far, but I think the key thing here would be to get racing every day and just establishing a rhythm, a pattern that we know, and that just keeps the pressure a little bit more constant than these days that we've had with 3 races, and Barcelona was pretty tough. It was pretty light a lot of the time, but this is what we came to Newport for, this sea breeze, 12, 13 knots of breeze. Our navigators are saying we should get this at least for the first couple of days. I spoke with Maria Torrijo, our principal race officer. She's expecting a good first couple of days. Anyway, we're approaching the windward marker, starting to set up for the windward mark with Vayu leading. Possibly a little bit of a gain to Sled. I'm not sure how that's manifesting itself at the moment, but remember they came to the left with Quantum Racing powered by American Magic, but we'll see how they round the windward mark. Vayu just passing the little protector mark that was just out of picture, but that really brings him in as tight on port as he can. Means that you can't come in late on port into the lineup. They're going to be close with Allegra as they come round this top mark. Allegra have starboard tack advantage and indeed cross Vayu as they approach the windward mark. So Allegra then leading round the final top mark. Vayu tacking now. Vayu in second. Sled, I think, getting up to third then. That left side working for them. Bow number 5, 2021 World Champions. Actually ahead. So Vayu round first, Sled in second. Third in the end is Allegra. Then Alpha Plus. Then Paprec. Paprec have got Quantum just inside, so Sled and Quantum both gained on that final upwind. Oh. So Platoon in fourth. Quantum in sixth, we think. Anyway, looking at this.
So Quantum's just squeezed in at the upwind mark. It was pretty tight with them. They undertacked the French boat, Paprec, and they squeezed in. They make these big gains over the left side with Sled together. I would be pretty happy now being Quantum Racing, coming back so strong, being back in the middle of the fleet, and now I'm sure they will attack.
I think they want to, but in the meantime, Vayu just holding on to the lead. The big gain, as I said, has been Sled. Sled and Quantum came up that left side of the upwind and got up to second. Remember, Sled were 6th or 7th at the top mark, first time up. Allegra in third.
So what an interesting race course. We have gains from the left, we have gains from the right. I wonder if Allegra will go do the same as they did the first downwind. Maybe they would jibe out early again, but now they're in third position, so on the final run. So they should just try to avoid making mistakes. If they finish third, it will be a great event for them on the first day. And Sled in second place can be really happy here and will probably just follow the others.
Indeed, so we're on this final run. There's a couple of boats then have jibed off earlier. As we come down this final run, Vayu though still with a little bit of a lead. Certainly Gladiator's one of these boats have jibed off, so have Paprec. Yeah, Interlodge, Gladiator, and Paprec have jibed off early. Interlodge had made that gain, getting themselves up to 6th at one point. Platoon have actually lost a few places, largely due to the gains by Quantum and Sled. So when we were talking earlier of Platoon being happy with the 3rd or 4th, in the end they're looking at a 7th, pretty much caused by those gains on that second upwind on the left. Gladiator then, they're the team down in 10th at the moment. So I think really, we look at this fleet, we look at this race, first race of the World Championship, and I think this is going to be a little bit of pattern through this World Championship on this race course. I think any team can win a race, any team equally can be 8th, 9th or 10th. It's going to be all about consistency, not going to be about winning races. It's going to be being about consistently in the top 3, top 4, all the way through the 10 races that we expect to constitute this World Championship. Here's hoping, fingers crossed, but massive credit to the Value team. They've stuck to their plan, a plan which saw them win the first regatta here last month. Nick Rogers and coming back into the team and taking over.
So it looks
where
like
they left
Value is setting up for a jibe. It's a little bit difficult for them because Sled is just on their back, so they jibe, they can cross. Let's see if Sled will follow, it will extend even. No, Sled is extending even more on the side. They made this big gains on the upwind on. So they're really confident on the left side here. And Value is already going in direction to the finish line. Andy, what do you think? Will Sled still have a chance to overtake Value here, or is this a done race by Value?
I think it's. I think Value are reasonably comfortable. They've got 20 or 30 meters in hand. Allegra out on the left. It's hard to say really, but we've seen some last-minute gains from Value, and last-minute gains from Sled. Sled are a team that push all the way to the finish line, and much as we love Value and what they did last month, we've also seen them lose out on the finish line a few times over the course of the last couple of years. So they really are head-to-head with Sled. Sled, the 2021 World Champions, Ado Stead, Murray Jones, a 5 times winner of the America's Cup. Working hard then. Ado strategist Don Cowie there, the main sheet trimmer.
How beautiful are these boats looking? Now we have a great drone footage and camera footage from these boats downwind, surfing aligned in wave direction. This is where they really make the gains. This is the fast jibe, and now you see they lift up and they surf down the wave. They can bear away whilst they're surfing down the wave because they create their own wind, because they're going so fast with their parent wind. This is just beautiful to watch these boats sailing here.
It is indeed Sled going a little bit further out to the right, or Value jibing earlier. It's really, really super close between them as they come into the finish line. It could be anyone's race. Certainly Value under pressure. This is a time for really steely nerves, maximum concentration from their trimmers. Palm Green, the main trimmer, Gabriele Olivio, the Italian trimmer, and Kevin Whitcraft.
Andy, I can see on the tracking that Allegro is going pretty fast. They just seem that they might have disadvantage on downwind, playing with the waves, going fast, and here they roll into another jibe. So we see now if they made gains on Vayu, can they cross? They're on starboard, so they're a right-of-way boat. Vayu just want to make sure they go fast now and get the crossing for the finish.
And I think the gain has actually been to sled on that right side. I think Vayu are crossing Allegra okay, but at the moment the gain may be to sled, but sled may be able to get in one. Vayu may still have to do one jibe to get to the line, but at the moment the gain is to the home team. Sled, Mr. Akura, member of the New York Yacht Club, keeps his 12 metre here as well. A little bit more wind pressure coming down the final stages of this run. Maybe that Vayu have just lost out slightly, trying to cover Allegra to the left a little bit. Allegra and sled now head to head. Certainly Allegra slightly quicker and on starboard. Vayu have to make the decision what they're going to do. And Vayu, I think, are going to jibe on top of Allegra. Now that will cost them distance on Allegra. Now this may actually play into the hands of Vayu, who have the clear lane out to that left side. And I don't like the angle that Allegra are having to go back at. So fascinating. What a finale to this race. Both sled and Vayu on the making jibe. And Allegra then losing out slightly in the meantime. This race is between Vayu and sled. Vayu, I think Louise sailing more directly towards the line.
Andy, so I'm here at the finish line already. I think Vayu can already make it in the finish on that jibe. They will come on starboard right of way. Sled will try to come in hot, so that means on a higher angle. They will come in on port, and let's see how they will come back with Allegra. And also the French team make big gains. Vayu should be pretty safe, crossing the finish line soon. And we will see some exciting situation with sled coming back to the finish line. They just turned into the jibe.
But I think Vayu looked fairly comfortable then coming through the finish line. Carrying on from where they left off last month, winners of the XS Trophy. Made that first gain on that upwind, working the left side. So Vayu come through to win race 1 of the Rolex TP52 World Championship. Sled deep early on, made that gain on the second upwind, getting through in second. Allegra, Andy Soriano's team come through in third. Now between Paprec and Alpha Plus. Alpha Plus have got a little bit more speed. The bow comes down on Paprec as they point towards the line. Still very close. This end of the line where Paprec are heading is slightly closer, but Paprec take it just ahead of Alpha Plus. Alpha Plus were second at the windward mark, and the top 3 all the way around the course, but just fading slightly. And then we're waiting for 5th place. Or sorry, 6th place will be, I think, Quantum Louise. Yeah, Quantum coming through the finish line now, pursued by Platoon. Platoon, the world champions, coming through for 7th. 8th will be Interlodge, I think, at the committee boat end of the line. And then it's between Gladiator and Phoenix. Gladiator then high hopes after first and second in the practice races yesterday. They always have a little bit of a mental battle on board on the practice race days. Gigi Parada and the Italian navigator Bruno Zerilli, very superstitious, but they accede to the Anglo-Saxon philosophy of taking any win or any top place in the practice races, but they are coming through in ninth, so disappointment for Tony Langley, and Phoenix coming through for 10th. So a good win for Vayu then, perhaps a little bit unexpected, perhaps not, but certainly the way they sailed in June here, winning the XS Trophy, carrying on where they left off. They said they didn't expect to, but they just did pretty much the same thing as worked for them last time, starting off the pin end of the line, staying on the left, and that worked for them. Louise, what's your thoughts on that race?
What an exciting first race of the Rolex TP52 World Championship. Andy, I think it's good that we're on the boat, on the rip and not on the boat. We were pretty happy with the right side. Turned out the left side was a bit stronger, so good that we're not as tactician or strategist on one of these boats. We've seen some lead changes, an amazing comeback by Sled, finishing this race in second position, and what an exciting match at the end at the finish line. I wasn't sure if Sled could still cross Allegro. Allegro was coming right of way on starboard, and Sled just squeezed in on port and securing that second place after Vayu.
Yeah, indeed, and Platoon disappointing. I think in the end they were, top 3, top 4, top 5 in the early part of the race, but they were one of the teams that just lost out on that second upwind when Sled gained on the left, as did Quantum Racing. That's when Quantum got through Platoon, but you can't cover everyone, you can't be everywhere on this race course, so a little bit of a tough time for Platoon, but they were quick enough and they started pretty well, didn't they, Louise?
Yes, Platoon rounded in 4th position, the upward mark. That would be a keeper for them, and they were going fast. They got a little bit lost on the second upward, but I'm sure they are coming back stronger. Big gains also in this race on the second upwind did make Quantum Racing over the left side, following Sled. So credits to their afterguard, they made a good job there, taking that risk to move forward. And I'm so excited to see the next race. Let's see if they change their strategy. Let's see if the conditions will change. And let's see how the left side is working.
Indeed, I mean, I think it's interesting because when I spoke with the Vayu guys at the end of the last regatta and prior to this regatta, they were just saying that, they were almost amazed at how they were left to do their own thing. And, once again, they started on the pin, I think only with Alpha Plus beside them and Paprec early on. But there's the standings after this first race. Well, it is Vayu, the Whitcraft family from Thailand, with that race win. The hometown team from the New York Yacht Club, Sled in second. Allegre, Andy Soriano's team in third. Paprec, a good result for them in fourth. Alpha Plus will possibly slightly disappointed. They were up in the top 2, top 3 round the first circuit, but ending up with a fifth. Quantum Racing powered by American Magic, where they're down in ninth at one point, so a nice gain, or a good gain for them on that second upwind. Platoon Aviation fourth at the top mark, ending up seventh. Interlodge, a very poor start in the end, but getting up to 8th. Gladiator and Phoenix 9th and 10th. But Louise, Breeze looking good to go into the second race. I think we should go into race 2 fairly quickly.
Breeze is looking good. Bravo flag just went up, so I think they all have a small break now. It still looks the same conditions, so I don't expect any major sales changes. The teams were going fast, so I think the next race will start very soon.
That's right. I think we're seeing a warning signal, I think, at 13:40, I think.
Yeah, it's getting late.
Sorry, yes. Anyway, the start, we're going to go straight into the race after a short break, and we're going to take a break. Join us again for race 2 of the Rolex T52 World Championship.
Palm Beach Motor Yachts is proud to support the XS52 Super Series Newport, Rhode Island Trophy. The competitive spirit and drive for excellence is at the heart of all Palm Beach Motor Yachts. It's a privilege to showcase our two flagship models, the beautiful Palm Beach 70 and the exhilarating Palm Beach GT60, built using our proprietary V-Warp technology, delivering class-leading speed, performance, and unrivaled fuel efficiency. Experience a true yachtsman's powerboat. PalmBeachMotorYachts.com.
There is something wrong. Shouldn't you already know? Should've spelled it out. Let me put it in a song. Every time you make that face, like crawling to a damaged space, out of sync and out of tune, that frequency I can't undo. Please listen close. Stop drumming on my heart, please. The rhythm that you're playing is just way up. You're not singing in the right key, check it out. Soon you'll be a well-paid man alone. Stop drumming on my heart, heart. Why you look surprised when we've done this all before? I'm not sure the highs really make up for the lows. When words don't work and it hurts. Somehow I feel like I'm the worst. Manipulation overload. Babe, this time I'll steal the show. Please listen close. Stop drumming on my heart, please. The rhythm that you're playing is just way up. You're not singing in the right key, check it out. Soon you'll be a one-man man alone. Stop drumming on my heart, please. The rhythm that you're playing is just way up. You're not singing in the right key, check it out. Soon you'll be a one-man man alone. Stop drumming on my heart. Out of sync and out of touch, and maybe even out of love. Stop drumming on my heart, please. Got me black and blue, making me wanna walk. You're not singing in the right key, check yourself. Or soon you'll be a one-man band alone. Stop drumming on my heart, please. The rhythm that you're playing is just way up. You're not singing in the right key, check yourself. Or soon you'll be a one-man band alone. Stop drumming on my heart.
Loud and clear. Uh-huh.
This is special. You like that? You like that vibe all night. You know, I don't even really know where to begin.
Yes, loud and clear.
Like every time I get ahead, I end up going 2 steps back. So tonight, I'm just gonna let this one ride. You know what I mean? When you one special. No matter where you're from, all around the world, it's one unique, one special vibe.
Let's see how you do under pressure. Let's see how you do under pressure. Let's see how you do under pressure. Give them a name to remember.
Quantum racing is back at the top of the world. Rolex TP52 World Champion.
They win the World Championship title for the third time on the final run.
Let's see how you do under pressure. Let's see how you do under pressure. Give them a name to remember. Hey, let's see how you do under pressure. Let's see how you do under pressure. A moment can live on forever. Hey, let's see how you do under pressure. Let's see how you do under pressure. A moment can live on forever.
To Newport, Rhode Island. We're looking at race 2 of the Rolex TP52 World Championship with a great first race, a win for Value. They say they came here not expecting in any way to carry on from their their regatta victory last month for the XS trophy, but here they go. A race win off the pin end of the line, working the left side of the course to lead all the way around the course and take the first race win at these World Championship. Second place, Sled. Well, Sled were not so good in the early part of the race, but made good on the second upwind. They and Quantum Racing stayed left and made the gain, got round in second and through the finish line. Under pressure from Allegra. Allegra made a nice gain on the first run, get through for third. Paprec always in the mix and really coming away with a good fourth. But overall then, a really exciting first race. And the conditions looking pretty good, Louise, for this second race. Much the same kind of breeze, angle and wind speed, I think.
Andy, so the wind has just dropped a little bit. We have 8 to 11 knots and 10 degrees left shift. Some boats change their sails, as they're allowed to have several sails. They have all the other sails on the rip, so they go in the break to the chase boat, take the right sails for the conditions, and start sailing again. This is what they're allowed to do in the time between the races, obviously not inside the race. So now they're all set for the next start of the second race.
So slightly less wind pressure. I wonder whether the afterguards will be keener to move to the left side of the course, having seen what Value achieved and Sled achieved in that race, and whether the pin end of the line will be busier this time. Of course, not everybody can start there, but we have just over a minute and a half to go. On board with
I think it's a tough decision for the afterguards now to make the right call for what side to start at the starting line. We have a big sea state now as the wind dropped, but the waves didn't drop. So you really want to make sure you're nailing that start. You start in space so you can sail your old mode. You can be fast on the first upwind. And for that, you need space and you need to sail fast, Andy.
That's right. You need to have a clear lane off the start line, not be impeded by other boats. Meantime, we can see Gladiator tacking into leeward of Paprec, just squeezing Paprec up to hold them up a little bit, up to weather of them, I think, Interlodge. Now working down towards the pin end of the line. On board momentarily with the Phoenix, and we can see that Tina Plattner has taken over as helm. She's super focused and really sails the boat quick. So in the end, Gladiator, most left-hand boat in the meantime. Paprec not getting the start. There are 10 seconds to go. They're a boat length behind the Gladiator. 7 seconds to go, and looking like a decent start from Gladiator. Now 11. I think one boat over the start line, bow 11.
So this was a general recall, Andy. This was a general recall. So Paprec was quite lucky. The birds will turn around soon and will start again. They really were more interested to start it to the left. Value didn't start at the pin end again. So this is an individual recall. I did a mistake. Individual recall. We have Phoenix going back.
That's right, Phoenix then going back, just jumping the start line. Gladiator making a nice start in the end on that left side of the line, left side of the group. Bow number 6 there is Interlodge next up. Allegra not so good off the line. Quantum Racing powered by American Magic further up the line and going quite well off the line along with Platoon. Gladiator then trying to make this left side work for them. They were 9th in the first race. So tough moments for the Phoenix, who have to go back and recross the line and start. Going out to the early right side is Sled. Phoenix have crossed the line again. Allegra going right early. Most right hand of the left group, if you like. On starboard just now is Platoon. Platoon starting to weather of Quantum. Then Alpha Plus. Vayu are 4 boats up from the left end of the line. Certainly Gladiator the best of the boats at the pin end.
I would be really happy now in the position of Gladiator. Gladiator has all the space they want to leeward. You can see how they slowly make gains on Interlodge just behind them. Interlodge is trying to go here on a high mode to survive on top of Gladiator. So making their life hard for Vayu, actually. Vayu is trying to hold the lane here. They didn't start at the pin end as like in the race before. They kept it a bit more safe, started a bit more middle of the line, but still close to the pin end. And now all the boats seem pretty committed to go to the left side, Andy.
Indeed, Quantum Racing powered by American Magic. Just good height relative to the boats to leeward of them. They need to just sail, keep that height, keep their speed on. May be able to work forward to Gladiator, but Gladiator for sure the best of the boats on that left side. I remember in the previous race we saw the early gains, the early leads with the boats out on the right, and that was Sled and Allegra in the previous race. And once again the right is strong for the meantime, but we do know generally that this left comes in from halfway up the beat to 2/3 of the way up the beat. And that's the investment that Guige Parada and the team of Gladiator are looking for a dividend. Meantime, Sled and Allegra have clear air, first and second for the meantime. But certainly for me, Louise, Quantum Racing powered by American Magic in a pretty solid position for the early stages of this upwind. Just trying to squeeze up to Platoon's line. But,
Quantum Racing is going pretty fast here. They're a little bit locked by Platoon, so for them it's really now full focus on going fast. The speed team needs to be fully focused in getting every out of their boat, because they can't really take out. You see the boat on top of them, Platoon Aviation, with the golden sail numbers, so they're the defending world champions. And if they don't take out, Quantum Racing also has difficulties to tag. So Platoon Aviation is covering the left side. They have all their boats under their control, so it's up to them to make the next decision, kind of.
That's right, it's a waiting game for the boats to lure. The one variable perhaps to a certain extent is Gladiator, whether Gladiator are sufficiently forward that they could tack when they want to. I think probably they may be. Certainly got clear daylight back to Alpha Plus. But again,
Gladiator looks really good. They're gaining here as long as they continue. But that will be an emotional cross, Andy. Crossing all these boats on port, these 5 boats. Oh, they go for it. They turn and attack, and they will go for the cross. Let's see how it looks.
I think it looks okay, certainly for the first boats. I think they look pretty good all in all. decision to put it in the bank while they can. Perhaps opening themselves up a little bit to the boats which can carry on out to the left, but there we go, Platoon electing to go, and they have done as well. But Gladiator looking pretty good on this left side. We can see all the boats on the right side now are coming across on starboard, but look at the height, look at the angle that Gladiator have. I think it's going to be an interesting battle in this race between Platoon and Quantum. And I think it'll be interesting with Interlodge. Interlodge stand to gain probably most on this left side, with the exception of Paprec, which didn't get the start they wanted. So this will be fascinating through the second half of the beat. Likewise, what happens with Sled and Allegra? Have they made enough of a gain early on to hold on to into the windward mark?
Andy, on the tracker we see Sled and Allegra still in front of Gladiator, but as we know from the past, the left side is getting especially particularly strong in the last third when they come into the upwind mark. So we still need to be a bit more patient to see that cross, and Platoon will be a first indicator, being leeward of Gladiator, if they can actually cross the two boats from the right side. And until then, for all the boats coming here from the left being on port, it's about sailing fast.
That's right, and furthest to this left side now we have Paprec and Interlodge. Gladiator making that gain on the left side. Certainly splitting Sled and Allegra. But if you look at the live images, you can see Gladiator look to be comfortably ahead of Allegra. And I think it's going to be close with Sled, but for the moment Gladiator on the lifting tack. They got the start they wanted at the pin end, in a way replicating what Bayou did in the previous race, but perhaps just not able to work all the way out to the left like Bayou did in the previous race. And there we go, the advantage going to Gladiator on the tracker. And in the end, I think Louise, Gladiator could have a comfortable little lead round the top mark.
Gladiator looks in a very comfortable position already. They're close to ley line, these boats here on the left side already. So most of them just need to do one more tack before they round the weather mark. And now they're just crossing the two boats from the right side, Allegra and Sled. So for me, these are the leaders, and now they need to go fast and avoid making mistakes. But I don't know what can still go very wrong for them until the upwind mark. What do you think, Andy?
I think they're in a comfortable position. It was interesting to watch how Allegra tacked to leeward of Quantum, not able to cross the fleet to weather of them. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out for Allegra and Quantum. Nice position for a Platoon in the meantime. And you have to wonder, you know, the breeze lifts increasingly for the boats furthest to the left, how much it rotates and advantages them coming into the top mark. But once again, Platoon and Quantum locked in battle, 4th and 5th.
We might get a very interesting upwind mark rounding, Andy. We have all these boats on port now who need to tack back to starboard. So when they take back to starboard, they're right of ray. And the boats here on port, they're already on the ley line, or at least pretty close. So they then need to decide if they will go for a duck behind that boat or if they will undertack. And this will all depend on if they can already make the ley line, the starboard ley line, to the upwind mark or not.
That's right. Also depends how close or the other boats are on the ley line coming in. Very difficult and dangerous when you've got a big group of boats coming across. And tacking, or as Louise said, under tacking, trying to get inside the boats coming in on the starboard tack lineup. That's a pretty difficult move, particularly when the fleet is so compact as we're expecting it to be. Meantime, Phoenix making a little bit of a gain. In ninth, appear to be through Paprec. But looking good for Sled in the meantime. It's going to be interesting whether we see this order staying the same as they come round the top mark. As you'd have the boat starting off the pin and working the left side, Gladiator's Sled starting off or towards the committee boat end of the line, going out to the right. They'll look to be the top two boats at the windward mark. And for sure the left side not quite as strong consistently. We're on board with the platoon then, lying fourth. Nearest rivals are Quantum. Allegro just ahead of them. As Louise said, just a little bit lighter. You can see we're not fully hiked all the time. Victor Mourinho there, the runner. Trimmer just going across as they tack. And the Axis and the Swedish grinder on the aft pedestal. Bringing the just seeing Vasco there, a tactician. But looking good for Gladiator coming round this top mark. Then Sled and Allegra, this battle between Quantum and Platoon. Really switching to and fro. Here we go then, top mark. First time up, race 2. So there we go, Tony Langley's team, 9th in the first race, coming round, leading on this offset lag. And have a 2 or 3 boat length lead, in fact, over Sled. So a nice platform for Sled to work from. And then Allegra will be third. And there we go, Platoon in fourth. Very close between Platoon and Quantum. Nothing in it as they come to the offset mark. Alpha Plus in 6th, Phoenix 7th. Then interlodge. So one boat jibed off early, looks to be Platoon. In the meantime, Gladiator with a lead of over 100 metres. Wonder whether Platoon can make any gains coming down this this first run. Bow number 5 then, the clean white hull of sled, understated. Past world champions, past the 52 Super Series champions, looking at being the top boat of the day, the way things are shaping up. A mature team with lots of experience on board in the 52s, and indeed they race Mr. Akura's 12 metre here as well, so they have pretty strong experience of these racing waters. So we're watching then, we have 4 boats going down the left side. Platoon, Phoenix, Interlodge, and Sled jibing. So Sled have come out to this right side relative to Gladiator on this run. Louise, what do you think?
Andy, we have a bit less wind than in the race before. So in the race before it was easy for the boats to get on the wave and surf them down. We would call this planing. So they could basically surf down these waves like surfers are doing it. Now we have less wind, so it's more difficult for them to get the bow up and surf down these waves. So they have to really focus and pick the right wave to do this, because they head up, get speed and surf down the wave again to bear away. And for me it was quite interesting to see that split of the fleet. We've seen the left side strong on the first upwind, but a lot of boats jibed out early. One of them was Platoon Aviation. Gladiator followed, but Gladiator is looking fast. For them, it looks like that the race is quite easy, Andy. But we've spoken about it, didn't we? When you're once in a leading position, sailing doesn't look so difficult anymore.
It doesn't, but often it's much easier to build the lead and keep building the lead, because you can sail your own race, you can pick the shifts, you can really afford to risk a little bit more. But Gladiator over 150 metres ahead at the moment. There's battle between Platoon and Quantum. Platoon jibed earlier out to that left side. Vasco there, his bare feet, just always talking, always feeding back to the team. He's almost like a caged lion on the back of the boat. A nice contrast with Jordi Calafat there, sitting on the rail with the white hat. He's telling Vasco and Harm what he's seeing in terms of the wind pressure on the water. So he's conferring with Vasco, saying, what do we want to do? Vasco's saying, let's just wait. But I think that left side showing some gain for them, perhaps. Platoon, we're seeing potentially up to second, potentially. For this race opening out quite a lot, quite quickly in this lighter breeze.
That Platoon went for this early jibe. They just tried to create some options. They weren't so happy with how they rounded the weather mark, so they were thinking about how we can now pass boats, how we can go forward. And these onboard pictures we just had before from Platoon Aviation were great to see how they make a decision. And now we see Quantum here going all the way
This right side.
on the right side if you look downwind.
I mean,
And now it's them who want to create some options and go in free winds.
That's right, they're hoping for that, but in the meantime they seem to have lost relative to Platoon, Phoenix and the boats on that left side coming down this run. Whether there'll be a gain coming in from that right side looking downwind. But you can see now then these lovely overhead shots from our drone. So as Louise said, lighter conditions. We probably have 8, 9, 10 knots of breeze, quite puffy. Look at how Gladiator going quite nicely on that left side in a good lane of pressure. Then Sled and Platoon there just out on that left side. Looking at Sled and Allegra in the middle of our picture. All about staying in the best vein of pressure. Little holes or little areas of lighter wind starting to open up. This is very much the...
Andy, it gets a little bit more puffy out here. We have more louds, more places with not so much wind. For me, it's a difficult race course, to be very honest. It's open ocean, but the wind doesn't seem so stable out here. For me, it would be hard to decide what side I want to pick on, what side I want to defend or control or attack on. So very hard decisions here to be made by the off the guard.
That's right, but Sled are really keeping it tight, keeping cool, sticking with their choices. Gladiator, meantime, I think are really disappearing progressively, but to a certain extent they have a real roller coaster day, in the sense that they had a ninth in the first race in the first place, and all the time we're talking consistency. That's where we started this morning when we're talking about the approach to winning world championships. It's about consistency. It's very unusual to win a world title going 9-1 or going up and down the extremes, whereas Sled, potentially the top boat of the day so far, with a 2, a 3 just now. Platoon potentially, well, second for me at the moment, but matching that to 7th. Terry Hutchison always said to us that you want a 4-point average for the day. If you can keep that up, then you should be in contention in the final analysis on the final day. 4 points or better for the day. So there we go, Tony Langley's team, Gladiator, with a big lead coming through this first leeward gate. They can make their own choices. They're under no pressure whatsoever. They can pick their shifts, pick their lane of breeze, pick their side of the course as they come through the leeward gate. Then looking at the approaching fleet at this leeward gate. Sled and Platoon coming pretty much side by side. Sled on the left-hand mark, a nice rounding from Takakura, and is 2021 world champions, 2023 world champions, going around the opposite, around the right-hand mark. Then Allegra in 4th place. So good work from the Platoon team for sure. Really sailed a pretty solid first upwind. Made a small gain coming down that run. Credit to Phoenix, up to 7th now. Going forward in the fleet after being over the start line. Quantum Racing down to 8th or 9th. And in 10th, but you know, we're talking World Championship, Louise, to a great extent. Obviously this is day one, but all the time in the background we're rumbling towards the 2024 52 Super Series title. Quantum Racing coming in with a lead, and every point, every place is precious in the run into the end of season. Who's going to be on top of the table? So a day like today for Quantum is not ideal. They're presently in 9th. They had a 6th in the first race, and obviously they want to win the world title, but they also want to come away from this regatta with a maximum lead in the circuit standings.
Here we see Gladiator now from the top, and they have a big lead. For them it's now kind of more easy game. They should try to avoid making mistakes, for sure, less mistakes than the other boats, and sail fast. But when you have such a big lead, it's getting more easy. My coach always used to say, sailboat racing in the end is an easy sport. You start well, you go fast, and you make your own decisions. And this is what Gladiator did for me so far. They had a beautiful start from the pin end and just sailed fast, and now in front of the fleet.
Indeed then, Gladiator pretty solid looking on this upwind. Perhaps small changes going on behind for the meantime. Platoon, I think, still a good second. Or third potentially. Sled have come out to the left coming upwind, crossing just now with, or converging with Platoon. Wonder whether there's been any gain. But Allegra way out to the right side. Certainly seem to like the right. Maybe a question we need to ask Nick Asher and Will Ryan when they come in. But on board with the world champions with Platoon Aviation. Just Sled have just crossed in front of them. So our tracker showing Allegra in second.
Platoon Aviation is in.
Well, Louise.
Platoon Aviation is in attacking mode. They had the same time rounding with Sled, so they make quite a lot of gains on the downwind, driving out first. And I think for them it's now, they want to go forward. They want to get closer to the other boats to then get another option again for the downwind to still catch some boats. So Jordi Calafat and Vasco, the strategist and the tactician, I'm sure they have a plan on how they can attack and what boats they can still catch. Now they just got into attack, they go with the fleet. They look pretty comfortable here. Second boat from the left. Andy, what do you think?
I think it's interesting just now that it's about that kind of investment in the left, or protecting that left side where we know there's an advantage, but in the meantime it seems like the boats out on the right are credited with some kind of gain. That may be temporary. We're seeing Allegra in second on the tracker, Value up to fourth. and Platoon losing out, but I think that is potentially just kind of transient. I think the left side should still be good if we look at that overhead. In terms of the angle that Platoon are sailing, they're sailing a higher angle than, for example, Vayu way out to the right, and Phoenix the same on that left side, and that you'd expect them to keep lifting on that left side. That's why Vasco and Geordie have chosen to protect the left. I think we're going to see how Allegra come out of this on that right side, and the same too can be said for Vayu coming out of that right hand corner.
We've seen this in the races. In the first race we had today, that the right side looked quite good until the last third of the upwind. Then the left side had always this nice lift, nice gain, maybe a little bit more of pressure. So I think we need to wait until the upwind mark to really understand what side paid off. And it looks like a not easy racetrack for me. The wind is getting lighter and lighter, and we have beautiful sailing conditions. Still everyone hiking out there, and just another great day out here in Newport.
Indeed, so we're watching how things develop, principally I think between Allegra and Platoon. Allegra have been consistently out on that right side, now coming back on at the fleet, converging with Sled. Coming back on starboard, Platoon on port, but Platoon certainly for me much closer to the windward mark. Alpha Plus just ducking behind Allegra. Yeah, we're starting to see that now then. That left side staying strong for Platoon. Wonder whether there's any big gains to be made down this final run of the day. But interesting to note that some of Gladiator's lead has been lost to Sled. They're still over 110 metres ahead, but it was about 200 at one point. So you'd think, Louise, that there'd be a Gladiator should be out of reach for Sled, but you never know. Sled a fairly comfortable second place with Platoon Aviation in third. Meantime, Quantum Racing, powered by American Magic, need to make a couple of places, get into the top half of the fleet on this final run. Certainly there's plenty of potential for gains and losses, with the breeze slightly lighter. Board then momentarily with Phoenix, just chipping away, just trying to make steady little gains, and up to sixth now. Tina Plattner steering. Ed Baird, the super cool tactician. Everybody credits Tina with great concentration, great focus, and very able to sail the boat very quickly in a straight line, and making steady gains then up to midpoint of the fleet. Considering they were over the start line, that's a win for them so far. So looking like a strong day for Sled. Potentially coming away with 2 second places. They are 120 metres clear of Platoon or so, something like that. And Gladiator's lead is something close to 200 metres once again. On board with Platoon then. Victor Mourinho there. Our runner trimmer from Galicia. The runner very much the accelerator pedal, controlling the power in the sails, controlling the power in the rig. Setting up, you can see him putting the runner handle away, crosses the boat early. Jordi Calafat releases the leeward runner. Victor brings on the windward runner. Just like a dinghy, get up and flatten the boat out and get a little surge in power. So Platoon in third just now. Approaching the windward mark for the final time. As ever, really quite liking the schedule here in Newport. It's only 2:15. Contemplating the final run with Gladiator approaching the windward mark. So fleet quite spread out now. So really in the end no significant changes from the leeward gate. Allegra, since the first upwind, Allegra swapping positions with Platoon. But here we go then, Tony Langley's British flagged Gladiator coming around the windward marker with that big lead. Being pursued by a sled. We're now quite a long way back. But certainly you'd have to say this top three are pretty settled, looking at the distance behind Platoon that Allegra are. And there we go, the red kite of Gladiator is hoisted and filling just as sled get to the windward mark. See now how just watching for the hoist on board Platoon. Victor Mourinho on the rear handles. Sean Dougie Couvre, the bowman there in the front of Platoon. Safe pair of hands and one of the most experienced bowmen in the fleet. Michi Muller in the mid-bow. It's a pretty solid day all in all for Alpha Plus by the looks of things. Not managing to hold on to their good positions early in the race, but if they came away with a pair of fifths today, I'm sure they'd be very happy. That's looking to be the case. But once again, really emphasising that a team that comes into this fleet and works hard, works smart, they've got every chance of getting some good results, as we're seeing just now with Alpha Plus and of course Value. We've got two new teams joining the 52 Super Series in Puerto Portals, another French team and a Brazilian team. So we should certainly have 12 or 13 boats racing in the second half of the season, if you like, when we go back to Europe. But in the meantime, this race looking very, very settled in terms of the key positions. So Platoon have jibed off earlier, Sled pursuing Gladiator. Platoon have a good 150, 200 metres on Allegra, so may be happy to keep pushing rather than just covering Allegra. As we say all the time, any place, any point that can be gained could prove critical at the end of the season. Quick overhead of the Gladiator. Looking pretty comfortable. Tony Langley there with the Union flag head square, sporting the British pirate look today. And I'm sure loving this race. Loves Newport, does Tony. He kept our 52 over here for a few years. At one point Tony ran 3 TP52s, one at home in Cowes, one here and one on the 52 Super Series. And that was really as much a reflection of how much he enjoyed the racing here in Newport. He used to do these regattas that we're now racing at as part of 52 Super Series. Tony would come here and do them just with his his US based 52. So Platoon having gone out to that left side, trying to make a little bit of a final gain. Still got 100 metres or so on Sled, but on board then again with Platoon just watching Vasco then, monitoring the situation all the time. He's watching the breeze, discussing all the time with Jordi Calafat. As we saw in our morning previews, Harmuller Spear just saying he doesn't feel any pressure. He's as an amateur, he's beaten America's Cup and Olympic medalists. He's won the World Championship 3 times. He's now won the 52 Super Series title, as he did on Countback last season. So many times on the podium over the course of his career in the 52s up until then. But they've made some technical changes to the new boat, which they're much happier with. So just looking at Gladiator in the foreground here, the nice little vein of breeze, and going well just with the kite. Nicely sheeted. They're going well for just a few seconds there. Sled out to their left all the time then. Platoon pushing down the to the left of Sled and Gladiator, trying to find some extra breeze. Jibed now and converging with Sled. So for those of you watching there, 3D, just some intermittent problems occasionally with Sled's tracker, but I can assure you they're in a good second place just now. That big dominant red kite in our foreground is that of Gladiator. So then Sled crossing in front of Platoon. Sorry, Sled crossing in front. Yeah, Sled crossing in front of Platoon. No significant gains then to Platoon. It's not quite picking up what Vasco's saying, but he comes back to the camera and talks into it, then we might be able to hear a little bit better. But he's just monitoring the boats to leeward, Sled, and you can see Gladiator very much a little red kite in the distance for them. Javier de la Plaza, the trimmer there, downwind. I think one of the most partisan Spanish supporters the other day when we had the Euro 2024 World Championship, or sorry, Euro 24 Championship final here on Sunday. He was a very, very happy man. And correspondingly, unfortunately, Jules Salter, the navigator, was English navigator from the Isle of Wight, was getting a little bit of stick yesterday. However, nice overhead shots of Gladiator. Gladiator's just missed out on the regatta win, just a couple of points off victory here last month. Consistent podium performers now. And I think they were the, in fact, they were the strongest performer on the last day here last month. That really elevated them up to second place. So heading through the finish line in the next few seconds. A great win for the Gladiator team. So through the finish line, comfortable victory, race 2 in the Rolex TP52 World Championship for Gladiator. So good win for Gladiator then, Louise. So yes, Gladiator then through the finish line. Coming through next will be Sled. Looking at a very, very strong day, super consistent. 2 and a 2 for them. It will give them the regatta lead. And through the line in the next few seconds. So there we go, Takashi Akura's 2021 World Champions starting the 2024 World Championships on top of the table. Just reflecting on a good job, well done. So they get 4 points for the day. Platoon coming through in third will give them 10 points as well, so they'll be tied on points with Gladiator, who go 9-1 for the day. And next through is Allegra. Pretty solid day for them, all in all, with a 3 and a 4 for 7 points. So they should go second. Battle between the Phoenix and Alpha Plus. Alpha Plus should be just ahead going into their final jibe. Massive credit to the Phoenix team, having been over the line. Still not over. Phoenix pushing hard to leeward. May be able to just squeeze down there, but I think Alpha Plus are going to get there for 5th place. So Alpha Plus getting 5 and 5 for the day for 10 points. 6th for Phoenix is 16 points for them for the day. So having been over the start line, that's a nice rescue mission from them. Next through Vayu, I think getting 7th. Vayu 1 and 7 is 8 points for them. So they'll go 3rd overall. So not able to start where they prefer to start. Then a nice little tussle for the minor places. Paprec, Quantum and Interlodge. Quantum a little bit slow and not getting the kite filling at all. In the end, I think Interlodge are going to steal this, getting 8th, 2 8s for Interlodge today. Paprec getting, I think, 9th, and I think possibly, we'll wait and see. Yeah, Quantum Racing pulling a 10th. So yeah, I mean, just those final meters into the finish line. Quantum heading towards the committee boat, underpowered, kite not filling and losing a couple of places on the finish line. So not a really good opening day for the 7 times world champions. But overall then, Louise, a pretty solid day for sled with two second places. Your thoughts, Louise?
Yes, sled really showed off that you can say consistent top places here with 2 second places. I mean, 4 points on the first day. That's just amazing, I would say. And I'm sure Quantum Racing will fight back stronger the next days. And what a glamorous day out here in Newport. I'm so happy we can have the World Championship here on the waters in front of Newport. We are back in the US after having a break. And when was the last time we've been in the US?
I think the last time was 2017. From memory, I think we used to do, but the key thing then was we used to do early season. We'd do Miami or Key West and Miami, which was great fun, great chance to come away from Northern Europe in the winter and race in Miami and Key West. It was super cool, but this is very different. Newport is different weather conditions. We're in high summer here now, and we're getting great racing conditions. It's a venue that the owners have wanted to come to for a long time, and I think we really are being rewarded on a day like this. And it's great for sled. You know, sled are a team who are long-time members of the Yacht Club. I think, you know, we have talked so many times about the potential for a home win for Quantum Racing powered by American Magic, which would be in essence a dream scenario for them. They are the club which are challenging for the America's Cup for the 2nd consecutive time with American Magic, and it'd be lovely to see them win, but really underperforming today, and sled having the best day, but also credit to Team Vayu, who really didn't quite impose themselves in the second race like they did in the first race, but they're on 8 points. They're on 8 points, yeah, first and the seventh, so they should be in third place overall. And also credit to Allegri, quietly consistent, not really able to impose themselves at the front of the fleet. But as we said, starting the programme this early afternoon, saying it's all about consistency, and Allegri have got that level of consistency so far. But Louise, an interesting race course, you know, it's there's always something going on, there's always places to be gained and lost, and particularly that first upwind. Really, we saw Gladiator winning that second race off the pin end, and Value winning the first race off the pin end. So let's have a quick look at the Rolex TP52 World Championship standings after day one. Well, it is Sled with 2 second places on 4 points. Second is Allegri on a 3 and a 4 for 7 points. Value 1 and 7 for 8 points. Gladiator 9 and 1 for 10 points. Platoon on 10. Alpha Plus on 10. Great to see them. Lovely consistent day for the team from Hong Kong. Paprec 4th and an 8th. Phoenix 10 and 6 for 16. Also 16 points for Quantum Racing powered by American Magic. And Interlodge 8th and a 9th for 17 points. But what a great first day of racing. The forecast for tomorrow is much the same. Louise, your closing thoughts before we go off here. How have you felt your first day on the water's been?
Yeah, for me it was my first day commenting the TP52 series, and it was such an honor. I mean, I love the boats, and commenting their racing, I just find it so exciting, and I can't wait for day number 2, Andy.
We can't wait for day number 2, and I think that can be said of the whole fleet. Some teams have got underperformed in day 1. Some teams, you could almost say, have overperformed, but massive credit then to Sled leading the standings, coming ashore after race day 1. Join us tomorrow for the second day, and hopefully more of the same. We'll see you then.
Quantum Racing is back at the top of the world. Rolex TP52 World Champion.
They win the World Championship title for the 3rd time on the final run.
Let's see how you do under pressure. Let's see how you do under pressure. Give them a name to remember. Hey, let's see how you do under pressure. Let's see how you do under pressure. A moment can live on forever.